Welcome to the Delight Your Marriage podcast, the show where you hear from amazing and inspiring wives sharing their struggles, triumphs, and advice for this journey called marriage. Here's your host, Belah Rose.
Hi there, and welcome to the Delight Your Marriage podcast. If this is your first time, I want to say welcome and thank you. This is a show that comes out every Tuesday and Thursday where we talk about the real stuff, the stuff that matters in your marriage, and really to get you to the place where you're looking back and you're like 80 years old and you have had a wonderfully and fulfilling marriage. That is my desire for you, my dear wife. This is mostly for wives, but I know there are some husbands that listen, so hello to you as well. Today we are going into the second half of Dr. Corey Allen's conversation, and it's just awesome. He shares about delayed ejaculation, and he talks about the difference between inviting and receiving your partner. And he talks about basically getting you to the next level of making love. And I think he's just got some great material. I don't want you to miss it. So let's go ahead and dive in. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I love that you say that you're risking everything, because if you do pause and be like, honey, what's going on? Then, yeah, there could be,
right. Well, that's what
tears and all this other.
What changed it for us, we have several different pivotal moments of our marriage,
okay.
both in bed and out, just from various times that, the real leap of faith, scary times are what really change us.
Yeah.
So
that's
what
good.
changed us for us with sex in this regard was we had kind of gone through this turmoil of me learning to be better and slow down and figure out what makes her enjoy it and connect. But there was still a level of times where it was just she was accommodating me. And so there's sometimes like, okay, yeah, I'm cool with that. But sometimes I found myself growing more and more with, I'm not cool with this. I can pleasure myself and get the same result.
Right.
So,
gotcha. Yep.
If I'm with you, I want something different. I don't want just release all the time. And so
that's good.
As we were going through it, I picked up from her she was not into it. But she was still there. She wasn't saying no. She was just kind of accommodating. And so normally I would have just powered through and finished and then moved on with my day, which sounds horrible if you think about it. But this time I took the risk of I stopped in mid course and just said, "Where are you? What's going on?" And she says, "I'm sorry, babe. I'm just not there." And I said, "All right." So I actually got up out of bed, and I wasn't mean and I wasn't harsh or pouty. I just looked her in the eye and said, "Baby, I want you when we're doing this. And when you're not here, I don't want it." And when I turned to walk away, I realized I might have just walked away from sex with her forever. Because I put pressure on her now to decide, do I want this as part of my life or not?
Wow.
And that's not my responsibility to make her want to be part of her life. It's hers. And so she had to face it and deal with it, and that meant the next time we had sex was pretty awkward, because we're both kind of reading each other of, are you really into this? Are you not? Am I? And so then now all of a sudden we just changed the whole playing field, and that's where you can't act like that's not also happening outside of the bedroom. The rest of our marriage was different too, because the way we interacted with each other was changed.
Yes, that is so good. Yeah, and so that was a pivotal moment. Was that earlier on, like before this, like everything changed? Was
No. This
one of the major ones?
This was only like 10 years ago. So this was 12 years into our marriage, 11 years. I mean, it's before we started having kids. But it was also something that took quite a while. I had to grow to be courageous enough to bring it up. Yeah. It was a whole lot easier just for me to, continue to go as was. and not rock the boat. Right. But also deep down still be upset. Yeah. Which is interesting. A guy sitting there saying he's upset about the sex he's having. But I was realizing, wait, I had more experiences with her that were great, and she would say the same. I wanted more of that.
Wow. What would you say to a husband who's listening, who's like, yeah, almost every time we do it, I know that she's not involved, she's not there. What are some action points that he can do?
Well, one is just the question of, is he willing to take the risk of, if that's not what he wants, is he willing to go without it if that's what it means?
Yeah.
Because that you can't act like it's not there. Once you acknowledge it, now you're just trying to play dumb. And typically that's not attractive in a partner. So it comes down to, if I'm having sex that's not worth it, why am I having it?
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, there's definitely marriages out there that are probably even wondering, like, well, at least you were having sex. We weren't even doing that, or we're not even doing that. I mean,
right.
You know?
No, I get it. But it's one of those that I mean, you can, it's not necessarily where you have to take the whole, I'm taking it off the table until it's exactly the way I want, because if you're having sex, it's still sex.
Yeah.
So what could you do in the middle of it that changes it? Because it doesn't necessarily have to be, hold on, I'm done until you're around more. It could also just be, I look back on that whole incident with my wife and think I could have also said, hey, what's going on? Well, I'm just not into it. Okay. Should we back up a little bit?
Yeah.
Would you like me to try something else? Or, what do you think? And we could have just held each other. We could have done different things and maybe brought it about. But just by disrupting it is what changed it. That's what mattered.
Yeah, gotcha.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be, you get up from your husband and just say, you know what, until you really are into this emotionally, I'm not ever having it with you again. That maybe that's the move you make, but it could also just be, you've had a normal routine with your husband that doesn't really work for you. It's close, but not really.
Yeah.
And so what your normal route would be, and I'm putting you on the spot here, Belah. So what your normal route would be, I'll just kind of roll with it. I don't have to be as fully engaged. He's fine. He seems fine with it, but you're sitting there deep down seething going, no, he's not doing it for me. So what if you were to just say, hold on a sec, how about you get on your back and I'm going to go this way? And and maybe that's so foreign to who you normally are, you're going to freak him out to a degree. But you also might totally turn him on because he's like, finally, she's into this, and she's going after what she wants. And that's the dichotomy that we face of how do we give and be engaged with our partner but still seek what we want. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. And it kind of is reminiscent of what you were talking about earlier on we're in charge of ourselves and risking it all or not. But I want to ask you, you did mention about just a little bit of early ejaculation, premature ejaculation. Yes. What about the flip side of that? What about those that have the stamina? Can you give some helpful tips for wives and husbands to kind of, you said like for the wife to kind of, all right, let's wrap things up, Right. What if it is going way too long?
Oh, so it's delayed ejaculation now. That's right. It takes too much. Okay, so now you just have to start to explore what is it that actually helps you cross the finish line. And typically, most of the couples I've ever worked with that have had this issue that will disclose it, typically their issue is for them to actually achieve orgasm, they have to disconnect to achieve it. So he has to fantasize or talk dirty or, she's got to do something specific or whatever. And so it's realizing first and foremost, all right, let me rephrase all of this, I guess. First and foremost, the sex have to always include orgasm and ejaculation. Who says it has to? Could you have fantastic sex with either of you not orgasming? Yeah. I would guess you probably could. I mean, obviously that increases it because there's the dopamine that's released in the brain that's associated with an orgasm. And that's a bond that you have with your partner that you create. So the more orgasms you have together, the more bond you have. And that's just on a biological brain level. Incidentally, it's the same kind of bond if you go through a tragedy together. Isn't that kind of interesting?
Wow. I didn't know that.
So you got the two different extremes, but they produce the same chemical in your brain. But we have vastly different meanings attached to both of those. But it's still, so it's trying to just uncover, okay, so what's really going on to help you get across the finish line?
Okay.
Could it be if she were to change it up and be more aggressive, would that bring it about faster? Or could it be if he were to just slow down and let her use her skills, would that bring it about faster? Because lots of times if you're talking about delayed ejaculation, it's most of the time it's just a guy powering through. It's just sheer willpower. And that's not sexy. I'm sorry. That's just not sexy. That's not learning to be receptive. That's just exuding your own power. And so sometimes, it's just that ability to have your wife say, hold on, let me take over for a little bit. I know you. Let me see if I can bring this about. And he's got to learn to lay back and just receive. And that's foreign for a lot of guys.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of guys think that, receiving, they'll be like, oh, I love it when she's willing to give me a blowjob or, all that. Yeah. But really? Do you? Or is it all just a dynamic of power that she's serving you, but you're not really receiving her? There's a huge difference between those. And women are more adept at receiving, largely because of just biological design. I mean, to have sex, you have to receive the penis, So but you also have to learn to invite that in, not just. There's a difference. I mean, think about it from your experience, Bella, as a woman. Yeah. There's a difference between you inviting your husband into your presence and just receiving him.
Yeah, very true.
So
very
it's
true.
Learning that goes on both sides. So how does a man learn to invite his wife into his presence and her presence into his? And so all of that is going on, and it just depends on how well can you handle all the anxiety that produces, because that's going to dictate what happens.
And when you say all the anxiety that produces, what do you mean by that?
Well, so if you're sitting there having sex and you've got delayed ejaculation issues, and you have also at the same time an issue of, if I don't orgasm, then I'm not a man. So I feel incomplete or diminished in some capacity. Yeah. Then you do everything you can to start freaking out on, what do I got to do to finish? And so it becomes just total goal oriented. Yeah. Rather than, okay, wait, I got a chance to spend this time with a beautiful woman. Yeah. And a woman who loves me and shares this with me. And what if I were to actually say, you know what? I'm having a little trouble. Can we try something different? What if I was to just acknowledge that? Yeah. She's probably reading it anyway, so why not just be honest? Yeah. So, because it's the same thing that happened with my wife of, hey, where are you? Yeah. She can probably read, okay, you're just trying to finish, aren't you? You're not anywhere with me anymore. Where are you? It's the same. Yeah. It's the same kind of a thing. So, what if she were to invite him back in of like, hey, I'm right here and I can help, or he were to say, okay, what if we slow down and we do this, or I feel like I've disconnected and I want to, and so you just let go of the outcome and let the connection take the lead. And I like that. Goes.
Yeah, let go of the outcome and let connection take the lead.
Right. Well,
I love that.
I mean, Buddhistic philosophy is attachment to outcome is the source of all suffering. So anytime I get too focused on an outcome, I set myself up for suffering. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, we've gone, like you said, so deep. I'm really grateful for all that you shared on all this. I want to ask you, you did share a little bit about what your marriage was like back then and kind of the process that you've gone through. Can you tell us a little bit about what your marriage looks like now?
Oh, yeah, I'll gladly tell you about that. Just because we've been on a 7 to 10 year just reaching points I never thought we could. Wow. As far as just watching my wife challenge herself in ways that normally I would have been blamed for. It's pretty fantastic. Yeah. That, just because it's so easy just to have, when something goes wrong, to blame our partners, like how we started the show.
Yeah.
And instead, what I've seen is a woman that will, you know what? That's on me too. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about the way I didn't handle that well. So I'm sorry about that. Or, it's what it's done is it's allowed us to align with each other more and not blame each other for things, which has just been fun because it brings about a woman that I don't have to take care of. It's a woman I have to work to stay with. And that's a whole different dynamic to be able to say, wow. I do not want to lose you, and I got to make sure I take care of my side of stuff.
That's awesome, and that's a lot more sexy.
True. It's an inviting of it, and what I have found is by me doing that, it draws what I've always wanted out of her.
Yeah.
Because I believe the masculine, because that's I don't know your audience completely, but one of the things that I hear most is husbands that want their wife to want to have sex more. Right. Right. I want her to want it more. Not just accommodate, but I want her to want it.
Right.
And what a lot of men and husbands don't realize is they have an influence on that she can't necessarily create that want on her own. She can maybe confront the things that get in the way of it. And then that could be childhood things, that could be past relationship things, that could be early exposure things, guilt, shame, all kinds of things that could still be in there that kind of derail it. But there's still a component that he can draw that out of her just because of the dynamics of masculinity and femininity. That I think masculinity can awaken femininity in that regard. And so lots of times by his presence, it can invite that out of her a little bit more than he thinks. And most of the time it doesn't. Most of the time he's not successful because he's not doing it well.
Wow. Can you talk a little bit? I mean, how can he do it well?
Well, I think it's really the idea of not being ashamed of it and not being goal oriented with it, because lots of times husbands would hear this and think, oh, well, that just means we're going to have more sex. Well, it's not just that. Yeah. It's also you're going to stand up for her. It's also you're going to take a lead at times for your family and for the relationship, because most husbands fall victim to the phone call comes in from the wife. We're going to grill out tonight. Do you want chicken or do you want steak? And his response is, I don't care, whichever one's easiest for you, which is true. But what she just offered you was a chance to make a decision because she doesn't really want to.
Yes.
And so
amen to that.
if you'll just make a simple decision, you take that off her plate. And you also kind of take a lead in her, because I really believe, and I think this is a biblical kind of a component, I believe most wives want to be first officers, not captains. And they want the husband to be the captain. And that doesn't mean I lead and lord over her. It just means when it comes down to the big decisions, I'll step up and make them if that's what it takes. But I want your influence and your input. I'm not just going to lord over it my way.
Yeah,
I'm going to be about what I think we need to be about as a family, and that allows a wife to kind of rest and relax into her feminine side. And so lots of husbands just miss that opportunity to step up and just say. And then when it comes to sex, they just ask, and they're too timid. And that just isn't going to turn on a woman.
Right.
Your husband coming to you and say, hey, so it's been a while. You interested in a little sex tonight? You just open up the opportunity to say no easily. Because that's not anything that's going to get you kind of wet and going. It's like, no, that's not exciting and sexy at all. But if he comes to you and says, hey, I want you naked in my bed tonight.
Oh,
that's a little different. Of like,
that is different.
That's an announcing of an intention. That maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but what he's done is he's announced an intention.
Yeah.
Or if he comes right up to you and just real confidently, in the eye-to-eye look, just says, "Hey, here's what I'm going to do to you tonight." And last time you really liked it. That's a whole different ballgame, because now you've just accessed a different part of her brain.
Right.
It's not about the managing the world. It's about being a woman And
right.
And so it's learn, and this is just learned stuff because most men were raised by women, and there's an undercurrent of men are bad, and men's sex drive is bad, and so I've had to grow and learn that my desires there's nothing wrong with them.
Right.
What I do with them, that could be right or wrong. But the fact that I have a high desire for my wife sexually, there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't need to temper that necessarily for her sake. I need to learn to channel it well for her sake.
Yeah. That's fantastic. I wish we could talk so much more. So I am going to probably run through these last couple of questions if you don't mind.
No, go right ahead.
So the chief 3 things that you feel have been central to your marital success, if you can name them.
The main 3 things?
Yeah.
Probably the fact that we've both learned to grow up and stand on our own 2 feet.
That's good.
So that neither of us have to hold the other up. The fact that my wife had commitment when the times were the toughest, and hung with me and made me stay. That's a big one because I'm a runner, and so when we hit the deepest, darkest parts of our marriage, I wanted to run, and she's like, "No, you're not going anywhere. We're talking this through. We're working this through."
That's awesome.
And then the other is just the kingdom story, and I probably put those out of order. This was probably the biggest one is that we've learned to see that our role in the kingdom and to help other people and to live life with other people helps keep us a better perspective that neither of us are the center of the universe. That there's a bigger story of God's kingdom going on here, and what role can we play in that adventure. I think that helps keep a better perspective rather than throwing a tantrum when I don't get my way.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Well, and we've talked about intimacy a lot so far, but would you be willing to share a tip that you wish someone let you in on earlier?
When it comes to intimacy and sex?
Yes.
Learn. Yeah, I didn't learn this till I was 32. Take a human anatomy course.
Oh, that's good.
Just because there's lots of women that don't know their body.
Yes.
And they don't know a husband's body. I mean, the penis seems kind of simple.
Right.
It's like all of it's sensitive and he likes it. But there's other parts of him and there's parts of the penis that are spectacular. Just like there's parts of a vulva, which is the medical terminology for a woman's reproductive area, I guess is the easiest way to say it. It's not a vagina. That's a component of the vulva.
Yes.
But learning that and knowing what parts feel what and where the clitoris is and, I didn't know any of that. I thought I did, but porn's not a good education.
No, yeah. I hear that.
Because women aren't just sexually aggressive. So, I got to learn how to turn that part on. Right. And so human anatomy is huge.
Yeah. No, that's
just
good.
Know that. I wish I would have done that when I was younger, but I probably would have been too horny to read some of that and been, turned on by it rather than recognizing, wait, hold on, this can actually serve me and her better. So.
Right. Yeah. I have a book called Delight Your Husband, and it goes into those specifics because it's something that I wish I had learned earlier too.
Right.
So that's really good.
Right.
Now, due to the specific marriage that you have had, what opportunities have you had to serve and get to know God?
Well, I think just on a day-to-day basis, that watching my wife's spiritual journey, because she is one of those prayer warrior women that when it comes time for something that we are uncertain about or I've got going on, it's humbling to bring it to her because I know it's going to be prayed about. And so that challenges me in where I fail in that regard of not taking the devoted time like she does. And so on a personal level, that's where I see it. It's just sometimes it's very humbling to be outprayed by my wife.
And that's awesome.
And so that's kind of, just this morning, I was just lounging in bed still, and she came in and was like, hey, our son gets up too early. He's disrupting my time. And, so she made the comment, sometimes I get him to pray with me. And I'm like, that's awesome, babe. And then she said, but this morning you get to. And I'm like, oh okay, let's go, But it just kind of caught me off guard. And it's just one of those, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. Wow. Praise God. That is so good. Wow. Well, is there a book or a program that you would specifically recommend to our listeners?
Well, a couple things come to mind, I guess. I have a course.
Yes.
I have a course called Married Life 911 that's online, and it's at your own pace, from the comfort of your own home, and it's the closest thing to working with me that's without actually working with me.
Cool.
So that's the option I send a lot of people, just because it can help reframe, like what we're talking about. It just walks you through a new paradigm of how to view what's going on in marriage.
Yeah.
And how to see that what you're really struggling with probably means there's nothing going wrong. It's just maybe you're not looking at it right. And so if you can reframe it, you can change it. And so it's just a course that allows you to kind of get a whole different perspective and then what to do with it. And you can find that at simplemarriage.net. Then the other thing is, I'm not sure when this airs, but September,
in a couple weeks.
Yeah, September 17th through the 20th, the Sexy Marriage Radio Getaway is happening here in Dallas.
Ooh.
And it's 4 days of a getaway at the Marriott Solana, just north of the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. And it's 4 days with Shannon and I. And it truly is going to be a getaway, but it's also going to be some fantastic material that we're going to unpack more. That'll be along these lines. But so we're trying to make that real good balance of, you don't come home from a retreat tired. You come home refreshed and energized because you had a whole lot of time with your spouse. So if you come home tired, it's just because of what you and your spouse were doing, not because you were in seminars all the time. So we're trying to blend that vacation with workshop.
Cool.
So that it truly is a getaway for people.
That sounds amazing. That sounds really wonderful. Awesome. Cool. Okay. Well, my last question for you is, if you could go back to year one of marriage, what is one piece of advice that you would give you?
During year one?
Yes.
Probably slow down. Because I look back on it that there were so many expectations of what we wanted, what I thought it should be. So it's probably just slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
And enjoy. It's either that or don't do the big wedding. Do a small one at a Caribbean location.
Ooh, yeah.
Just to do something different, because we look back on it now and go, there were lots of people there, but did it really mean that much?
Right.
It would have. How much more fun would it have been had we just taken some really close friends and gone somewhere together and had a blast together?
Sounds like you could renew your vows in such a place.
That's
might be
very
something
possible.
to look into.
Or if nothing else, I just want to take her to such a place. So.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, so lastly, where can our audience find and connect with you?
Simplemarriage.net. That's my home online. All my therapy and coaching stuff is there because I work with people from all over the world via webcam. And so you start there, and then I'm pretty easy to track down because my phone number is even listed on my site. So
awesome.
I get random calls at times, it's a reader or a listener. So I'm cool with that. That's why I put it out there.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, and we'll have all the links to Married Life 911 and the other resources.
Perfect. Thank you.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Allen. I just appreciate it so much.
Yeah, this has been fun. If we want to go, if you got more, let's do more later. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I would love that. Okay, well, we'll talk to you soon. Wasn't that awesome? Are you so excited to try these things out now that Dr. Corey gave us so many ideas and insights. It's hopefully going to just jumpstart some things for you in your marriage. And I want to tell you about a free resource that I'm offering as a free gift to you. It's quite a lot of research and study behind it, but I've dumbed it down as quickly and easily as possible so that you can get a bunch of value from it. So I'm talking about my guide to the 4 stages of his best oral orgasm. That's right. I spell out exactly what it is. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And I want to give that to you for free. So go to delightyourmarriage.com/4 stages. Again, that's delightyourmarriage.com, the number 4 stages, STAGES. Okay, well, thank you so much for spending time with me and Dr. Allen today. I hope it's been great value to you and your marriage. God bless you. I love you, and we'll talk more soon.
Thanks for listening. If you've been blessed by this, why not share it? Until next time, live with love, wisdom, and passion.